It is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose back with you. Producer Dan along for the ride as well. And a big Snapsville to Jolly Olive. He's so good at this. Thank you, Jolly, for filling in on Monday and Tuesday while I could do some other duties. But I did miss our AMP community. Give yourself some blue claps on the AMP app. Trevor Plouffe, I missed you too. Hi, buddy.
I missed you too. It was fun to take the reins for a little bit, write the questions up. It's difficult to host a show, move things along. You do it so seamlessly. I'll give you credit for that. I don't give you a lot of credit all the time, but I will give you credit for that. But we're happy to have you back. And I talked to you last night about your experience, but I think some of the Ampers or the YouTube crowd or the podcast crowd might want to hear about it. How did it go? What did you feel about it? 30 seconds, Chris.
Yes. For people that didn't know, I am filling in right now for the radio play-by-play guy of the Cleveland Browns, a guy named Jim Donovan. He's been doing it since they came back in the league in 99. He is one of the best in the country at doing it. Unfortunately, Jim has fallen ill. He's taking care of his health. Jim Donovan, shout out, thinking about you, buddy. And I realized how good he was before I put on the headset. I have infinitely more respect for him after doing that game. It is so tough to do an NFL game on the fly. Bang, 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 bang. And he does it incredibly well. So I'll have two more cracks at it. Looking forward to doing it. Wish I wasn't doing it because that would mean that Jim is in perfect health. But it was a great experience. Plus, I got to meet one of my broadcasting heroes in Kevin Harlan. And that was really cool. Got to chop it up with him for 15 minutes. And I was like, can you just walk around and just do play-by-play of my life for a little while? Although it's not that exciting, but he could make it sound exciting. So that was cool.
That is what you were most excited for. You told me about that last night. I like that.
That was awesome. All right, let's get it going with a tip of the cap to Zach Neto's mom. That's right. Angels shortstop. It's been an up and down season for him because he's been a little banged up, but when he's been on the field, he's played. Hit a home run yesterday, and they gave a shot to his entire family, and mom is celebrating like every mom should out there. I love this, Blue.
I was going to say the same thing. That's such a mom celebration. Hands up, spirit fingers, going nuts for her little boy. She probably still looks at Zach and says, that's my little baby right there. And I totally get it. I feel the same way about my kids. But that dance right there, hands up, high fives, love it. Go, mom.
That is great. That is great. It's been a shitty year for that
franchise.
And
he gives her the point.
The point. The point was great. That was great. It's also been a bad year in Southern California for the team whose hat I am donning today, the San Diego Padres. Unfulfilled expectations. But boy, Blake Snell has just been a gem. 7 more no-hit innings last night as they got a walk-off homer from Xander Bogaerts. Blake Snell didn't even get the win in the 2-0 decision over the Colorado Rockies. We know that he's probably the front runner to win the NL Cy Young Award. Of course, he won the AL Award a handful of years ago in Tampa Bay. Besides Shohei, is Blake Snell the second most intriguing free agent this upcoming offseason?
I guess it depends on what you mean by intriguing. I surely am intrigued by his situation, his numbers. First of all, Blake Snell's having an incredible year. And if you really break it down, his overall career numbers are excellent. A 3.22 ERA, started 190 games. He's had a couple real outlier years where he's absolutely dominated. You go back to 2018 when he won the Cy Young. This guy pitched to a 1.89 in 31 starts for an ERA plus of 2.17. Then you get a year like he's having this year, 1.75 ERA plus, making all his starts. He's made 31 already. He's leading the league in ERA again. So you know that you have a legitimate ace in here. There are times where it fluctuates and goes up and down, but like you have a guy that you know you could put in your rotation, and he's going to give you a chance to win ball games. Sometimes it doesn't look pretty. Sometimes, see, Rosie, it looks maybe the most pretty of all the pitchers in the big leagues. When he's right and he's got his off-speed pitches working, that thing is nasty. So I don't know how I'd give him second. There's just a lot of free agents out there next year that have interesting storylines. I'm curious about Votto, to be honest with you. I know there's an option and all this stuff. So we talked about that yesterday. That's a very intriguing one to me because I feel like there's only a few teams that he'd want to play for. So that kind of puts a cap on where he can go. But yeah, I mean, to me, there's going to be a bunch of suitors for Blake Snell. He's going to get paid upwards of $35 million a year to $40 million a year. Just depends on the length of the contract. He deserves every penny. I don't know if he's like intriguing to me just because I feel like he's a good free agent that everyone's going to be after. So the level of intrigue isn't as high as maybe some of the other guys.
I find him fascinating because I don't know if I can call him an ace. Right?
What do you, Chris Rose?
Hold on. You got to hear me out
Rose.
Here. Hold on. You have to hear me out,
bro. I'm hearing you out.
Part of what I want in an ace is a guy who can give me 7 innings on any given night. He did it last night, and he was wonderful. And you know the reason he couldn't continue was because his freaking pitch count is always through the roof, right? He's going to walk more than 100 guys this year. He's going to average less than 6 innings a start. Less than 6 innings. Let's think about that for a second. Now, I love it that he's going to make every start this year. I don't dismiss that. That is a huge part of it. But I think sometimes we just throw that word ace around. He's got ace stuff, okay? I will agree with you there. He set a career high last night in terms of strikeouts first season. He is virtually unhittable, right? Guys don't put the ball in play against him. But when you walk that many guys and when you can't give your team length, I don't know if you qualify, bro.
It's a new world, Chris. That's what I'd say about pitchers in general. Like the 7-inning mark, there's a reason why quality starts got a revamp, and it just, we have to look at the game a little bit differently nowadays. And I know you're talking specifically about the walks. That's what you're talking about. That's what's keeping him from being ace status on your behalf. And yes, right now it is basically the highest mark of his career. If you go back to his rookie year of 2016,
it's going to be over 100 dudes.
He's leading the league in walks, but you know what else he's leading the league in? ERA plus, hits per 9, ERA.
I understand that, and that's why I'm saying he's got ace stuff. And that's what makes him so intriguing to me. The next 2 guys in line in terms of that I'm watching for free agency behind Shohei are Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger. Those are the 2 guys because I think that they can either make your team or make your payroll a disaster. One of the 2, because they both have they're both uber decorated. One's an MVP. Another guy is going to be a multi-Cy Young Award winner. But are they the guys that you want to pour $200+ million into? I don't know.
That's the chance that you take bolstering your team through free agency. It costs money to do it. I think many teams do view Blake Snell as an ace, the same way where many teams maybe balked at Kyle Schwarber as a middle of the order bat because his batting average is too low, but he gets the job done. The
$80 million
is there.
That's not $200 million. That's $80 million.
That's the going rate for pitchers. So you either pay up or shut up. And you complain about not having pitching all year long. That's the going rate. You make free agency and you're a starting pitcher coming off a freaking Cy Young year. Probably 2 in the bag. I mean, it will be 2 in the bag if he wins it this year. He's certainly going to be in the top 3. So, it's Chris, I think you're overthinking it a little bit here.
Okay. It's possible. Yeah. I need some length out of my guys, though. Guaranteed length.
Well, dude, you're talking about
I think
elite. And I know you have the argument saying an ace, there's not 30 aces in the league, and I agree with you there. I'm putting Blake Snell in the ace category. Doesn't mean he's going to wow you in every single statistic, but this is a guy who, I mean, dude, he can run through a lineup like nobody else.
I know he can, but when I think of guys I want to pay more than $200 million to, Max Scherzer, when the Nationals gave him that, I didn't blink. I knew the guy was going to be there every 5 days, giving me 7 or 8 innings. Garrett Cole has been incredible for the Yankees. Not his fault what's gone on there. When guys get paid that much money, I want to make sure not only are you showing up every 5 days, you're giving my bullpen a rest. And that's the one issue I would have, and which is what makes him so intriguing. All right, we got to move on to the next question. Let's speed up on this one a little bit. The craziest race continues to be that National League wild card. You got Philly holding strong in the top spot there, despite losing to Ronald Acuna and Spencer Strider and Atlanta. After that, it's Arizona, the Cubs, Cincinnati, Miami, all right there. San Francisco's taken a few steps back over recent weeks. Which of those wild card contenders for the second and third spots right now? So we'll put Philly off to the side. They're not part of this discussion. But which of those competing for the second and third spots are the most interesting story? Not that necessarily mean that they're going to get one of those two spots, but the most interesting story down the stretch.
I think it's the Miami Marlins. And because I've got, specifically for me, because I've gone back and forth on this team, over the last couple of years. I was really high on the pitching. I expected them to be better, to sneak into the playoffs. Didn't happen. Now, this team's a little different. They have the pitching. Some of the guys that you typically expect to, be the guys, whether it's Sandy and he's kind of been up and down. He's hurt now. He'll be back though. I think this team isn't just pitching anymore. Like, they made good, solid moves. Some that, maybe flew under the radar, even to me, getting Jake Berger over here, like the things that he's been able to do at the plate are really interesting. And if you look up and down their roster right now of the, I don't know how many guys are on a roster, 28 guys on a roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
4 of them are from their organization that they either signed as an amateur free agent or drafted. The rest of them are all trades or like a free agent sign. And none of these are big free agent signs. So like, they've constructed a roster, dinking and dunking, doing these things. We know about the massive trade early on in the or this offseason, a rise for Pablo, which I think has worked out for both teams quite well. I don't think either team would ask for the other player back, which I think is awesome. But yeah, to me, it's the Marlins. I just think that they're kind of flying under the radar as a team that everyone thinks of as starting pitching first, and that's it. But what they've been able to do kind of down the stretch is it's different than that. I think that they can be really scary, in a playoff series if that pitching does show up and they go and the guys that they brought in continue to go, and like a Jazz Chisholm, who, by the way, they traded for, like, gets going. I think people, including myself, and maybe this is just me looking in the mirror, they're better than people are giving them credit for.
Okay. By the way, they traded Zach Gallen for Jazz Chisholm. So,
I know. Again, they probably want Zach Gallen over Jazz Chisholm, but still not like a crazy bad trade for them.
No, not at all. Cincinnati Reds. It's that simple. They're counting on so many guys in their everyday lineup that are 25 and younger. When you check out the schedule, like I'll go to ESPN.com and I'll look at the upcoming schedule and the pitching matchups and stuff. They're only posting 3 out of every 5 games because they don't know what the hell they're doing in the other 2. Like yesterday, huge game against the Minnesota Twins. They ran out a bullpen game with a week and a half to go in the heat of the National League wildcard chase. That's where we are with this team. And there's
people were telling me they didn't need starting pitching. That's what all the Reds fans told me that.
No. They were holding their breath for guys like Lodolo, who hasn't come back, to come back, and Hunter Green, who is back. And by the way, all 3 of the guys that they're starting and listing as their probables for starting pitching, Green, Williamson, and Abbott, are all 25 and younger. Yeah. So if they're going to get it done, they're going to get it done with the kiddies in the lineup and the kiddies on the mound. And Reds fans are just sitting here going, oh, my God, can we get through like this? Can we actually make it? I hope they do, because they're a really fun squad. But it's an uphill battle. That's what makes it interesting to me.
Green, 24. Abbott, 24. Connor Phillips, 22. Brandon Williamson's 25. And then the old man, Ben Lively, coming around at 31.
Well, he was their bulk guy yesterday. I think he came out of the bullpen and threw 4 innings.
Yeah, and he got my guy, who we're probably going to talk about in a little bit, to hurt himself. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's coming up right after this. I check out my phone, and there's some subscriptions that end up on there. I'm like, when did I order that? Like, I feel like I did it like 8 years ago, and I'm still paying for that. Like, there are things that you have in your life that are emptying your bank account. You're getting no use out of them. And in fact, you have no idea that it's happening to you. And that's why we here at Baseball Today are such huge fans of Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending. It helps you lower your bills, and it's all done in one place. So with Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want, just the press of a button. There's no more hold times like, oh my God, I got to schedule this in the middle of my day, from 1 to 2. Like you really want to be waiting on the phone to talk to somebody, or you send an email and then you're like, oh my God, did they read it? Did they read it? No, like you have no idea. Let Rocket Money do all the heavy lifting for you. Rocket Money also lets you monitor all your expenses in one place. It recommends custom budgets based on your past spending. And guess what? They'll even check you at the door. They will send you notifications when you have reached your spending limits. I don't care how old you are. Keeping a budget is really challenging. When you have something like Rocket Money keeping an eye out for you, 2 thumbs up. It's got over 3 million users and counting. Rocket Money customers have saved an average of $720 a year. I don't know what your budget's like. I could use an extra $720. That's why we hang out with people from Rocket Money. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions. Manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/today. That is rocketmoney.com/today. rocketmoney.com/today. Continue on with Plouffe's Minnesota Twins, who are just days away from clinching the AL Central. That's the good news. The bad news is early on Wednesday, they put Carlos Correa on the injured list with plantar fasciitis. And then on Tuesday night, Royce Lewis left the game early because he aggravated a hamstring injury. He is expected to get an MRI tomorrow. How worried are you?
It's not great. I got to be honest with you. Like, I'm pretty worried. From all accounts, Carlos is going to be okay by the time the playoffs come around. And, with the situation the Twins are in, I think they have their magic number is 3. They're about to clinch. They can clinch as early as tomorrow. So, the Twins, the Twins don't need Correa right now. They need him healthy for the playoffs. So, go take care of it. Take some time off. Make sure that's good. I'm not necessarily worried about Correa too much. I am worried about our guy, Royce Lewis, because things like this, soft tissue stuff, needs time. And they said it's a hamstring, and I don't know. And maybe it is. It didn't look like a hamstring to me. The way he grimaced on that, I think it was a check swing.
Yeah.
It looked more like groin, like adductor, which, is in the same general area. But the in my experience, as I pull both of them, the hamstring muscle it's a faster healer. It's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And there's easier ways to rehab it. The adductor and groin, like, it's really hard to rehab that area. And that really is like, you just got to let it heal. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried to see if Royce is going to be available for the wild card game, which is what the Twins are going to have to play. And that's directly after the season. There's no bye there. Right now we're sitting, I don't know, we're right at that threshold of 2 weeks away from that. And you really have to let those things go for 2 weeks. And then you got to test it a little bit. So here's the scenarios. One, maybe it's nothing, which I don't think is the case. That's like a 1% chance that it's just nothing and he'll be okay. 99% is he's going to be trying to play on it the first day of the playoffs without really having any rehab games or live at bats or anything like that. And that scares me a little bit. So I am concerned for my Twins because Royce, what he's brought to the team it's immeasurable. They need him. They need Royce Lewis on the field if they want to get past this wild card round.
He's their most important offensive player. It's that simple. He gives them balance in that lineup. They've got a lot of pop from the left-hand side. They need his stick in there. And as for Correa, people may not have paid attention. He's had his most productive offensive month of the season.
Yes.
It's the only month where he's had an OPS over 800. We know what he does defensively. That's why the plantar fasciitis scares me a little bit. Like, you need him moving at 100%. He can change a game defensively in the playoffs with his ability to move around, make plays, and then use that bazooka that's attached to his right shoulder. That's huge stuff. But Royce Lewis, man, if he's not well, forget it. I don't care who the 6th seed is. That is massive trouble, because they're going to face a team that's really, really good, in my opinion. It could be Houston, could be Seattle, could be Texas. That's the team you want to face because they're bullpen issues, in my opinion. Could be Toronto. Those are the prospects. And I'll be honest with you. I'm not so sure that Minnesota's favored in any of those series.
I think you don't give the Twins enough credit, man. You really don't.
Now, hold on. There's
Blake
a difference
Snell,
between
Twins, me.
stop. You. Where did that come?
I don't know.
Again, it's about you. Number one, just because you're favored or not favored that has no bearing on my opinion. I'm talking about favorite. We're talking about betting, gambling at that point. So that's what that is.
I think they'd be a favorite over Texas.
Possibly. That's the one. That's the one. But I don't think against Seattle or Houston or Toronto.
There's a chance against Toronto.
Chance.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter.
I know people are thinking, God, I'm an idiot with the whole Blake Snell thing. I'm telling you, I like guys that go more than 5 2/3.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, I'm still stuck on that.
Okay.
All right,
go Twins.
Shohei, he had surgery on his torn UCL. We don't know what kind. We don't think it's Tommy John based on what his camp is saying. But Dr. Neil Elatrosh, he said we just basically repaired the ligament in there. All good. His quote was, I expect full recovery. He'll be ready to hit without any restrictions come opening day of 2024, and he'll be able to do both hit and pitch come 2025. If this is indeed the prognosis, does this knock out teams from chasing Ohtani this coming winter?
No, not at all. I don't think. I think this is best case scenario from all accounts. And again, I don't press his agent at all for information. I just don't feel comfortable doing it. I just don't think it's my place. Maybe in the off season we'll talk a little bit more. But I've kind of Googled around, searched around to see what people are saying about this procedure. A lot of people are hinting at it could be this internal brace procedure that, pitchers are starting to have. Rich Hill had it. He said it's felt great ever since he's had it. So it's not Tommy John. It's much less of a recovery time. Guys are able to throw sooner. It offers some clarity on, I think you've mentioned that. It offers some clarity on what he's going to be able to do in 2024. He's going to hit. He's not going to pitch. So I think teams can now kind of game plan for it. I think every team that was on Ohtani before this is on him again. And maybe some other teams got in on it because let's just be honest, he knocked $100 million at least off of the asking price. So I think that there's going to be a plethora of teams there. And I hope, and I do believe this, I really truly believe this, that we're going to be seeing him in 2025 doing both again at an elite level. This guy is, we can't just say, oh, he's hurt, he's done. Like this, that's not what's happening here. Shohei Ohtani is going to be the guy that we saw this year, the guy that we saw last year. He's going to be that player again. We're going to see him with the bat in 2024, 2025, book it. He's going to be just as good.
It is a second surgery on a UCL.
Now he's got this thing in there, though.
The superpower?
Yes, it's better than ever.
Okay. I hope so. God, I hope so. I'm trying to will it into existence. And I want this offseason to be fun. I really do. I think if your job's on the line, let's just play this out. Let's say you're the Cubs, right? You've had a great year, fun, might make the playoffs this year, could end up losing two of your bigger names in Bellinger and Stroman. You got some young guys that are really interesting, but you want that centerpiece. You want the dude. I mean, Dansby Swanson was a nice ad, but you want somebody that's going to drive people to the ballpark, be the reason to come. Are you willing to pay?
Amazing. He would look amazing in that uniform.
Could you imagine him on the north side of Chicago? Now, do you think $500 million that they would ever do that? You said knock off 100, so I'm starting at 5.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I don't know about this specific ownership group, because Cubs fans will tell you that they probably won't do that.
Right.
But I think Shohei, gosh, and I wish he was going into free agency with no injury problems, because that I would really hammer this point. He's different than any other player, so I think you have to approach his free agency different than any other player. So a normal player a guy who doesn't already have legendary status within the game and still in his prime, you maybe wouldn't do that. But this is Shohei Ohtani, man. He brings everything to the table. Production. He brings, a slew of money just from Japanese advertising, and it's a different type of free agency. So I do think, like I said, there's going to be a lot of teams trying to figure out a way to convince Shohei to come, whether it's monetarily, just being like, hey, we're going to pay you more than everybody else, or hey, we're going to offer you this. They're going to get creative with this, and I think he's going to have, whatever he wants, any option that he wants. Shohei's going to have it.
So here's the most interesting thing. There's going to be teams that are going to try this. Hey, we expect you to start pitching in 2025, but let's drop a contract that you'll get this if you can't pitch and this if you can do both.
I'll never sign that. We'll never
sign it because it only takes one team to say, no, we're good. We don't care. So there's no way in the world. In fact, I don't think I could do that as a team aspiring to bring Shohei Ohtani to town.
You can't. You're
because
out
if you
already.
do that, you're going to piss them off, and then they're going to say, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. So that's not even a possibility. That
you got to convince them that you're going to win. I honestly think, like I said, he's going to get paid. I honestly think that's going to be, I don't know if it'll be the number one factor, but close. I think he's going to have to feel comfortable with your organization as a whole. Do I want to live here? Do I want to spend the next 8 to 10 years of my life here? Does it make sense for me, for my family? Like, that's going to be number one. Like, does it make sense? Then it's going to be, can we win? And then I think it's, okay, what are you offering? What's the monetary value here? I really do think it's going to go in that order.
Okay. Interesting.
And this one is brought to you by our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. Things are heating up in the ballpark. Every team right now is playing to finish the season strong. We got the wild card, all sorts of stuff going on. They're all vying for the playoffs. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the action. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Plus, all customers can take a crack at a sweet payday with DraftKings same-game parlays. String together multiple bets from a single game for your shot at a major payout. I love doing those. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BASEBALL today. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BASEBALL today. The crown is yours. Gambling problem?
Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See DraftKings.com/baseball for eligibility. Terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. I'll see you out there.
Last thing. The Jays topped the Yankees yesterday. Blue Jays starting pitcher Yusei Kikuchi. He left early. Thinks he'll be fine. This is a tweet from Caitlin McGrath, who covers him up there. Said he should make his next start. He left the game with cramps. The biggest revelation was that he said it may have been caused by only getting 11 hours of sleep instead of his usual 13 or 14 hours. Do you believe Kikuchi actually sleeps more than half the day?
I'm trying to do the math in my head once you sent this over. Okay, let's say he's a starting pitcher. So let's say he gets to the ballpark around 4 o'clock, which is pretty late, but we'll just give him 4 o'clock. Okay. So 4 o'clock until at least 10 o'clock, you're at the ballpark. Okay.
At least.
Let's just, at least. Exactly. So that's 6 hours right there. 4. And then you got to have at least an hour before, you have to wake up and get to the ballpark. I'm going to give him an hour there. He's got to get home and then he's got to get to sleep. So we got an hour there on each side. So now we're talking 8 hours. So now there's 16 hours left in the day. So he's leaving himself 2 hours for life?
No. No way.
What's going on here?
No.
Hey, maybe, dude. Maybe. And I guess congrats, but there's the saying, I don't want to say it, but I kind of agree with it. You sleep when you're dead. Like, I can't waste my life sleeping like that.
Oh, you've
There's so
got
much
too much.
stuff
There's
you
too
gotta
much
do.
pickleball to play with Jimmy Clausen.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I want to be doing. I can't. I honestly, it would be torture for me if someone's like, you better sleep 13 hours that night. Like, get out of here. 6 hours is what I need.
There's no way he's sleeping 13 hours. The only people that sleep 13 hours are teenagers on the weekend. That's it. I know Dan sent in and he says he typically goes to bed at 11 and wakes up at 1. That's just,
That's
still not
insane to
First
me.
of all,
What?
There's no way right when you're done playing baseball, you can't just go back to your hotel and go to sleep. I haven't met one baseball player where that happens.
Well, he is a starting pitcher. So the adrenaline's only there for 1 out of every 5 days.
That's crazy.
I mean, who are we to call this guy a liar? This is his sleep schedule. It's just wild to me.
It is. Hey, good for him.
What do you need?
What I need and what I get. What I need is probably 7. What I get is probably 4. But I'd sleep terribly. I'm a horrible sleeper. I loved my dad dearly, but my dad, he sent me the sleep gene, and I fucked it up, and now I handed it over to Josh, our oldest son. Our youngest son, Brady, you could run a 737 through his room, and he wouldn't wake up. You know?
I'm not that way. I 6, 7's all I need. If I get more than that, I actually feel groggy. Maybe that's just me and being stupid.
You're an animal,
that's how
though.
I feel.
You're an animal.
Aren't we
It's good to be back. It was good to be back today. We're going to do this again on Thursday. So if you want to join us live on the AMP app, just download it onto your iPhone. You can join part of the discussion. You could yell at me about my Blake Snell take. Not a take. It's just an opinion. Not a hot take.
Hey, by the way, Blake Snell was one of our first fans of the show.
I love Blake Snell. You're missing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if I'm going to give $200 million to a guy, I want to make sure I can get 7 innings out of him. Most of the time.
Save it for AMP. We're going to talk more about this on.
Yeah, we are. We are. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented man who doesn't need more than 7 hours sleep, Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday on Baseball Today.